With certain movements, you gotta be extreme or excluded. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we gotta talk about San Francisco Pride dropping D. Snider of Twisted Sister over his comments about trans children. Now, you guys may or may not have heard the song, We're Not Gonna Take It. Yeah, that's his song with his group Twisted Sister. He was gonna perform that at San Fran Pride, I guess, to represent their struggles politically and socially or whatever. But because he said, hey, maybe we should not have transgender kids, he got dropped from the event. Now, we have video of a rep from San Fran Pride talking about it. We have a little bit more context and more. If you want to see it in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
A potential setback for organizers of SF Pride.
They are scrambling to find a new anthem for this year's festivities after breaking ties with a well-known 80s singer over his alleged transphobic tweet.
KTVU's Jesse Gary has the story.
In the 80s, Twisted Sister's iconic song was an anthem for rebelling against established values. Its lyrics and riffs are so powerful and recognizable. Organizers of SF Pride plan to use the song as their anthem next month against transphobia and had slated singer D. Snider to perform.
Well, we'd been excited to welcome him to San Francisco and to enlist his help with SF Pride.
Those plans were scuttled Sunday after Snider's tweets touched a nerve. First, KISS musician Paul Stanley tweeted in part, "There's a big difference."
Before, because they're going to kind of truncate that, let's go ahead and just read exactly what was said here so you guys can get the full context. So here's what Paul Stanley said on Twitter. There is a big difference between teaching acceptance and normalizing. Hold on, matter of fact, let me come out a little bit more so you can see this better. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. There is a big difference between teaching acceptance and normalizing and even encouraging participation in a lifestyle that confuses young children into questioning their sexual identification as though some sort of game, and then parents, in some cases, allow it. There are individuals who, as adults, may decide reassignment is their needed choice, but turning this into a game or parents normalizing it as some sort of natural alternative, or believing that because a little boy likes to play dress up in his sister's clothes, or a girl and her brothers, we should lead them steps further down the path that's far from the innocence of what they are doing. With many children who have no real sense of sexuality or sexual experiences, caught up in the quote unquote fun of using pronouns and saying what they identify as, some adults mistakenly confuse teaching acceptance with normalizing and encouraging a situation that has been a struggle for those truly affected and have turned it into a sad and dangerous fad. I don't see the lies. I don't see the lies there. Let's continue with the video here.
It's between teaching acceptance and normalizing and even encouraging participation in a lifestyle that confuses young children. Snider replied, "You know what? There was a time where I felt pretty too. Glad my parents didn't jump to any rash conclusions." Well said, at Paul Stanley Live.
So D. Snider, all he did was just retweet what I just read you and added his 2 cents. He said, you know what? I felt pretty too. So basically he was agreeing with it and says, well said. That was the extent of his tweet. And that right there got him dropped from San Fran Pride. Like I said in the beginning, with some movements, you got to be extreme or excluded. Obviously, right?
You know, we had to say that's not right. We have to believe our children when they tell us they're trans.
We have to believe our children when they tell us they're trans. Is that what we're going to say? So if I, as a child, said, you know what, I am a Power Ranger, a Ninja Turtle, I'm a Bobcat, a mountain lion, a grizzly bear, you got to believe me? I mean, seriously, because kids say the darndest things, right? Sometimes kids say things that they don't even understand what they're talking about. They have no idea because they're kids and they're just trying to figure things out. They're trying to, I don't know, develop as a human. They're trying to learn information. They don't know what they don't know. They're children. That's why you can't have kids consent to certain things, right? But I digress.
According to Suzanne Ford, Pride's executive director, Snider has since apologized after his invitation to SF Pride was rescinded Tuesday. But the damage and hurt has been done.
They did the right thing, you know. It's just a shame that the song would have been perfect. And it's a continuation of the negativity that's going on.
Bans on gender-affirming care were passed in Idaho and Indiana last month. The Kansas legislature overrode a veto by that state's governor and passed a law banning trans girls and women from participation in school and college-level sports.
I understand people having more moderate politics than maybe I do, but this is not an issue where there's a moderate and a severe. We either believe our children when they talk about gender or we don't.
SF Pride or
yeah, I mean, you know what? That person, whatever this person identifies as, is correct. It's not really a moderate position on trans kids. Either you support the child mutilation or you don't. Now, I think most average everyday normies out here walking and talking on God's green earth do not support child mutilation. I'm just saying that's probably what the majority of us believe. If you want to be an adult and do something like that to yourself, go ahead, man. You got these adults that put stuff on their face to try and become a lizard. Hey, man, you know what? I support that 100%. Whatever you want to do to your body as an adult, go for it. That's your business, not mine. Why am I going to tell you as an adult what you can and can't do to yourself? That's your business. But see, when it comes to the kids, I think we have a societal imperative to protect children. And that's where I draw the line. Do what you want to do to yourself, but leave the kids out of it.
Organizers are now scrambling to find a replacement anthem for next month's festivities. This after a one-time ally known for pushing boundaries is now on the outs. In the South Bay.
So there we go. D. Snider, we're not going to take it, is out because he says that, you know what, maybe kids should not be transgender. Just maybe. And you know what? He's kind of confused by the whole situation, right? Let me see if I can find an article right quick. Here it is. And you see what he's saying right here. I'm going to read the entire article. It's going to go to you're going to get to a few little points in the very beginning. He says, so I hear I'm transphobic. D. Snider responds after being dropped by San Fran Pride. Let me just read some of this in the very beginning, and I'll link to the rest in the description. Quote, I was not aware the transgender community expects fealty and total agreement with all their beliefs, and any variation or deviation is considered transphobic, wrote Snider in the Facebook post. Yes, that's you. You were not aware of it, but that's where we are nowadays. If you don't believe that trans kids exist, and if you don't believe they should be put on hormone blockers and puberty blockers at 5 years old, you're transphobic. That's the whole thing now. So here he continues. So my lifetime of supporting the transgender community's right to identify as they want and honoring whatever changes they make and how they present themselves to the world isn't enough. He continued in the post he titled, so I hear him transphobic. Really? No, it's not enough. As I said, with some movements, you got to be extreme or excluded. And as you're finding out right now, you're being excluded. You are not extreme enough. You don't think there should be trans kids. So that makes you transphobic, sir. It doesn't matter how much of your 68 years on planet Earth you've been a so-called ally to the LGBTs. It doesn't matter because the extremists are taking over. Look, matter of fact, let me come back so you can see me clearly. Again, I'll link to all that in the description if you want to see it and read it for yourself. But I have been saying this for years now. You want to be an adult, do whatever you want to do to yourself is totally fine. But I draw the line at the children. The whole thing with Dwayne Wade's boy, Zaire or Zion, whatever his name is a little boy. Why should I see this boy as a girl? They started a whole movement toward making them be transgender at 12. Come on, man. 12 years old? Really? Middle school age. You're like seventh or sixth grade. You're just now starting to understand what you are at that age. You're way too young. But we all know where this is going. We know the final step. They're going to add a certain letter at the end of LGBTQ+. There's going to be one more letter they add. And when they add that letter, all of what's happening right now will have led up to it. We know what's going on. So people like myself and D. Snider and many others, when we say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be having trans kids, we're trying to stop the final letter from dropping, which we all know exactly what it is. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on with D. Snider being dropped from San Fran Pride because of his tweet? You think that this is pretty much par for the course when you're talking about current day LGBTQ-ism and their movement? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I stand. I'm not surprised at all. This is what they do nowadays. And I think your man from the 80s hair band had to find out the hard way. Yes, your lifetime of effort is irrelevant. Totally irrelevant because you don't support the latest thing. This is why a lot of people politically have found themselves like kind of stranded or homeless, because your whole life you've been left Democrat. Your values and everything align with the left Democrat. And now the left is becoming so far to the left. You're sitting here confused, like, what's going on? Where are we headed? So you are in the same place with all your values and everything, but the Overton window, whatever they want to call it, has shifted over here. So now the center for the left is here, but you're all way over there. You've not moved, the line has moved. You've not changed, they changed. It's a crazy world that we live in, and I hope that we can turn it back around, because if we don't, this is not going to end very well for any of us. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.